email us at hello@coastalestateteam.com, or you can DM us at whatever platform you're watching us on today. And today we're going to talk about what's important to us and hopefully important to you. I think maybe this pertains a little more to women than men, but everybody can benefit. Traveling alone and how to stay safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I saw a TikTok, what kind of brought this back to mind. I saw a TikTok the other day, and it was actually a news station talking about, and there were cameras, a man tried to abduct a woman at a Walmart parking lot at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Broad daylight.
She was putting groceries in her trunk, and he came up to her with a knife and tried to push her in the trunk and abduct her. And luckily there were other people nearby, saw her, came to her aid. And that's why she was able to get away. They had good video of him from the Walmart cameras, and they were able to apprehend him, I guess. And he had done this before. This was not his first rodeo in doing that. But it made me start thinking about that because Kelly and I, of course, are women. We're putting groceries in trunks and signs in trunks. We're at houses by ourselves as realtors. But we also both have daughters who are either young adults, or even Kelly's daughter is even younger, has a daughter who's younger and a young adult daughter. And like, how do we advise them to stay safe?
Stay alert.
What should they be doing?
Their surroundings. So staying safe, not just, I guess, day to day, but if you go places, like if you're traveling, even.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I was a kid or a young adult in college, I never thought about this. It wasn't a concern.
I had no concerns.
Yeah.
I was always by myself traveling, as a young woman. And, driving alone, flying alone, hotels alone.
And going out at night, you weren't, even then, you were like not worried about walking from some bar or restaurant to your car by yourself.
Literally, like, I had no awareness that anything bad could possibly happen. Despite, stranger danger as a kid was like the biggest thing. Yeah. Especially if you were, raised in like the 70s and the 80s, for sure. Stranger danger. Don't want to end up on that milk carton.
We didn't want to be on the milk carton, but I don't think we really had a good understanding. And I don't know if it's more prevalent now, or is it just more I think with like
reported? Maybe like, human trafficking and all of that stuff out there. And, Tampa's a hub for that. Mm-hmm. If you look at the national statistics, it's a big hub for it, just in Florida in general. But
it's easy to grab people, I guess. And they do things like they'll park really close to your car with backed in, so their like driver's side is next to your driver's side, so that you have to be careful of that. I don't know. I saw that with the Walmart thing, and I went back and forth. Do I send that to my daughter? And then I was like, yes, because if I didn't and something happened to her, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I should have sent that to her. Right. Like I'm a bad mom.
Well, I mean, look at what happened with Jen's daughter. She was taken and put in her car, and afraid for her life. Thank God she made it out. But we already know what it's like to get that call as a mom, because she lived through that, and I can't even comprehend.
And that was daylight also. Yes. In her apartment complex and parking, coming home from school or work or whatever.
I think she was coming from work because she was working as a lifeguard at the time, and she still had her swimsuit on under her, like, I guess maybe an over, something like a cover up of some sort. I can't even imagine like the terror that you must feel, like, for that to happen to you as a young woman. Yeah.
And there were two people who, so somebody in the back seat, somebody in the front seat, and pushed her in the car. So luckily I don't know why, they let her go, and she was able to find
I'm so glad they did. But my goodness.
A UPS driver or something she was able to find, run to the police. But if the police aren't around, find yourself a UPS driver.
I'll tell you, Amazon Prime, somebody, FedEx. There's plenty of those on the road. They can help you out. Yeah. So, my goodness, so scary.
So Kelly has some tips that she found for traveling alone.
If you're traveling, so I remember when I was doing the flight attendant training, and I would see all these flight attendant videos, and they talk about going into the hotel room and checking behind the drapes, You want to like check in the bathroom, check in the closet, make
like
sure
the
there's nobody
check
hiding
under the bed.
Yes, make sure nobody's hiding in the room.
I have never done that.
I never
Have you
used
done
to.
that?
I do it now. I do
You
it.
check in the closet?
I check everywhere in the room, especially if I'm by myself. If Tommy's with me, no. But I recently was in Tampa alone. Never been to this hotel before, so I'm opening all the doors. I want to see all the things to make sure there's nowhere anybody can hide out.
I've never done that. I've never even heard that. Like check in the closet. I guess you should pull the curtain back if there's a shower curtain.
Yeah. Well, because usually they're open.
What is that movie? What's that movie where the guy's in the shower? It's one of those
horror movies. I can't watch horror movies. They're too scary for me.
Yeah.
I can't do the Halloweens and
no.
Yeah, no. But that's one of the things I remember hearing, as a flight attendant, make sure and double lock your door. Always put the extra lock on it.
Yeah.
They even have some tools that you can take with you.
I bought those and they sit in my closet, but they're almost like a door stop thing that goes under the door and they can't open it, or it sets an alarm off if the door is opened. So they say use those on connecting doors.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Like if you have a room that has a connecting door, even though it's locked on your side.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how would they open that? But I don't know. They say just stick that
I don't know. And how do they know what? Well, I mean, people will watch, they wait and watch, right? And then they know which room to go into. So that's one of them. But also share your plans with your family.
Yeah.
And now we have so much technology. You can share your location with family members, and then there's these apps like Life 360 that some people have.
I've never used that.
I haven't either, but I see it's pretty popular.
Yeah.
I just use the Apple, where am I?
Find my
Yeah.
iPhone.
And let me tell you, when there's been a time, and it's some sort of a glitch where my 24-year-old, I won't be able to see where she's at. And I use it not to, stalk her.
Yeah.
But it's can I call her now? Is she at home?
Yeah.
If she's not at home and she's at school or work, then I know not to call her. So that's what I use that for.
Yeah, smart.
But
I should do that before I call my daughter would probably appreciate that. Instead of me texting, she's like, Mom, I'm in class.
Well, so I do it. I can see if she's at her apartment, then I'm like, oh, I can probably call her right now. She might be studying or busy or whatever, or sleeping. I try not to call too early because she likes to sleep in.
Yeah.
But there was a time when it wasn't there and it wasn't sharing with me. And I'm texting her, why can't I not see where you are? Not being creepy, just, are you good?
Yeah. I don't think it's, I don't know. Some people don't like to share their location, but I share my location with my kids.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They see where I am.
If you're out doing something on the down low, then maybe
Well, it's my husband, we share each other's locations, and then I'll look to see, I'm like, oh, he's at Lowe's for the 4th time today.
You might want to hide that.
DIY.
I forgot something.
Blur it out when you're at a hardware store so that your wife can't see. Or
no,
fishing.
I was just getting gas at the nearby gas station. It just looked like I was at Lowe's.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Another thing is emergency plans. So, if you were to be robbed, let's see, your money gets stolen.
Yeah.
Which this happened to Tommy when he was in Paris when we first met. He was there for a Motocross of Nations race, and his wallet, everything got stolen from his hotel room. He had nothing. He didn't have a debit card. He didn't have an identification. He had his passport on him, so he had that. But he had no way, no funds, no nothing. And he was by himself with a group of friends. Thankfully, his group of friends helped him out financially because, this was back during dial-up internet days. You had to go to an internet cafe to get in touch with your bank to let him know, hey, my card got stolen, please turn it off. So he was able to at least do that, but you don't get a backup card. How are you going to pay for stuff?
I just don't ever leave my wallet or credit cards or anything
no, me either.
in the hotel
Never.
room.
I was my first thought, because we were newly seeing each other, I was like, this guy's a dumbass. Who does that? A man.
Have you seen the, so for your phones, I've seen it on, because I follow a couple people who are live out of the country, and they're safety tips if you're traveling internationally, where do you put your wallet? How do you, because they steal everything, pickpocket, whatever. And they have this thing now that goes around your phone, and it wraps around your neck, but it doesn't stop you from using it. It's almost like a bungee cord kind of thing. And so one girl was like, she literally recorded, not on purpose, but she was recording herself walking down the street, and a guy on a moped came by and tried to grab her. I'm like, she's lucky she didn't fall over, but I don't know how it works, but he tried to grab her phone, and it shows him pulling the phone and her and he couldn't steal her phone. So anyway, you don't want to lose your phone when you're traveling alone, because that is sort of your lifeline, I feel
For sure.
Yeah.
So that's like securing your valuables in a different way to your person.
To your person.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I think keeping copies of your passport while you're traveling isn't a bad idea. That's my biggest thing whenever I'm traveling outside of the country where I need my passport.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous about not having it with me at all times. Like, you're on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Like, where is it going to go? But it could go somewhere. You never know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That makes me a little bit nervous.
Yeah. I tend not to leave. I don't know. But on a cruise ship, and if you're in your bathing suit, what are you going to do? Like,
where are you putting that?
And if you go to a resort or something and you're at the beach,
yes,
you wouldn't leave it in your bag. That's not safe at all.
No, definitely not.
They
might have like a locker system or something. I have a locker story though, because I have bad luck with lockers.
Really?
They always make me really nervous. So when I was a little girl, I was taking swim lessons at the local community college.
Yeah.
And they had lockers in the locker room where I had to change into. It was winter time, so you're coming in all bulky, putting all your stuff, getting your bathing suit on. And I see a locker with a combination lock on it, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to use this one. So I stuck my stuff in, I closed the door, I locked the lock. It didn't ever occur to me that I didn't know how to unlock the lock.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't know whose lock that was. And so I get out, I'm dripping wet, I go into the locker room, and I was like, oh. I was about 8 years old, to be fair.
That's sad.
I'm like,
poor little Kelly.
I'm like, how is this going to work? So then I have to go back out of the locker room, go find my dad, and I'm like, I made a boo-boo. And he's like, what happened? And of course, he's like swearing under his breath.
Yeah.
My aunt she was there. I think maybe my cousin was taking lessons at the same time. So she comes in with me. They have to hunt somebody down, like a janitor or something, to then come cut the lock off the door.
Oh my gosh.
It was a whole ordeal. So like now, when you go to like a spa or something.
Yes.
Like, do you want to use the locker room? I'm like, do I want to use the locker?
An amusement
and I read the directions like 45 times just to make sure, do I do this right? Am I going to remember that number?
I feel that fear anyway. Like if you ever go to Disney or Universal, they have the lockers. And I'm always like, you get the little thing and you're like, am I going to remember where it is? Am I going to remember how to open it? Is there like a code?
I can barely remember where I park. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's really hard.
That is,
And the other thing, I don't want to forget to talk about those little things. They're called the one my daughter has is called Birdie. Have you seen those? They're like little personal alarms. They're tiny. Mm-hmm. They hook on your keychain, or you can hook it on like a backpack or your purse or something, and you push. That thing is loud.
Yeah.
It's loud. We tested it. Yeah, you need some sort of ear protection when you test those things. They're loud.
Oh my! Does she ever carry like pepper spray or anything?
She
with her?
has that too, but I don't think she really. I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like because it requires like you have to get it out or you have to.
Yeah.
I don't know that we could be fast enough to make that effective.
Yeah. I feel like I would also be afraid, like, which way is the wind blowing?
Yes. Is it going to go right in my face and disable me?
Yeah.
I feel like the alarm is pretty loud, and that's easy. That is like, you don't want to accidentally set it off in class or at work or something.
Can you imagine? How embarrassing. For me anyhow, because I just don't call attention to me, please.
It would be terrifying, like, oops, sorry. Yeah, that would be me.
Here's another good one. Avoiding reckless behaviors. So, like, ladies, let's not go to the bar and let's not drink too much or pay attention to your drink. That's important because this has happened downtown here a few times. You hear stories of women being roofied while they're out at the bar.
They have some kind of like drink covers now or something, right?
There is drink covers and
straws that change color or something.
There's something that you can also then have to test to make sure it doesn't have anything added to it.
If I'm old, but we used to go out to the bar.
Oh, yeah. I paid no attention.
My drink, I didn't even know if I was drinking my drink. I could be drinking someone else's drink. Because you're like, you put all your drinks down, you're with a big group, and then you would dance. You were dancing. You were doing whatever. You had to go to the bathroom.
In my single mom era, going out with my friend Tina. Love you, Tina. And there was many nights that I was having to enlist the help of some gentlemen.
Yes.
To help get her to the car. So they would have to
at least it wasn't getting you to the car.
No. Yeah. I had to be completely 100% because I knew we was going to be carrying her out later. Oh. She would just like fall asleep.
Oh, that's terrible.
She wasn't ever messy or sloppy. She just fell asleep. It was
I left my purse in a bar one time. I got home and I'm like, where's my purse? I had left it in the bar. One of my friends was still there and she's like, we didn't have cell phones back then.
No. Same.
So she told me later, she's like, girl, I got you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's bad.
So, it was so much easier when we were.
But don't do that.
Ignorant.
We're not, it's funny now, but like we would have been very unsafe. Like if things were the way they are now, that would not have been a good idea.
It would not have worked out, I don't think, too well. I mean, things sometimes happen after dark, different neighborhoods, maybe areas that you should kind of stay away from for the nightlife. Maybe just don't go there.
And I also think I know there's a lot of people get home from work or it gets dark earlier, like, up north too, they have less daylight hours and they run at night or take their walks. I'm like, unless you're walking with your big German Shepherd or a couple friends.
Yeah. Like, a buddy system is always a good thing. If you can have somebody with you, it's a good idea, in my opinion. Yeah.
My opinion too.
Definitely.
So that's that. And then this one was said travel insurance, which
that's so not so much a safety, but I think more for your health. Like if you get injured when you're traveling or you get sick while you're traveling, which can happen. So it would maybe help you in that.
I just saw someone post, so the company, they always, like if you book an airline ticket, it's usually Alliance, which is Alliance, but with a Z at the end.
Right.
They offer, if you travel a lot, they offer like a year plan that's really inexpensive. That would be the way to go, I was like, I never heard of that before, but a lot of very seasoned travelers are like, oh, absolutely, buy the year plan because the year plan protects you for all your trips, like whether car, air, whatever. And it is good. I will say, like, I worry about losing my luggage. Or damaged luggage or
it's happened
delayed.
Before. I remember going on a cruise with my mom and my great aunt and my second cousin. This is back in 2000.
Yeah.
And my cousin's luggage did not make it on the boat.
See, that's terrible.
Airport, it just didn't get there.
Yeah.
So here she is. We're on a week-long cruise. She's got nothing. So she's borrowing some clothes from her mom, having to get T-shirts. It's expensive on the ship.
Oh, they charge you,
And then, at the destinations or whatever. And I think finally at one of the ports, the bag was found and then brought to one of the ports.
Yeah.
And on the boat. But it was the last 3 days of the cruise, So you've already halfway through the cruise and now here's your stuff. So always have a carry-on.
Yes.
Carry-on is important. Change of clothes, clean underwear,
Yes.
Those sort of things are important.
I always pack that in my carry-on. I know. I think people think it's odd, but I always take at least one change of clothes because I'm like,
Yeah, you just don't know.
It doesn't have to be your best thing. It can be something small that rolls up
I've
small.
had many times where the luggage just didn't make it, and then you get home from your trip, and I remember as a kid waking up in the morning and there's luggage on the porch, like it's finally been found and delivered by the airline. So
I could never do just carry-on, by the way. These people who get everything in a carry-on and they're like, oh, my best friend went to Europe.
With just a carry-on?
Multiple weeks, yes.
I know.
Her husband was like, let's try and do it just carry-ons. It's when they were losing all the bags just recently. And they did it, and I'm like, how?
I don't know.
How?
I couldn't do it. No. I think for a quick weekend, I could make it happen. But it's not going to just be one. It's going to be a carry-on plus another carry-on. It's like a bigger bag. It's like a personal item.
I would have to be forced to do that. Even then, I mean, whatever size bag I have, I'm definitely going to overfill it. It doesn't matter what size bag I have. That bag is never going to be big enough.
You're going to have to weigh it. We do the weighing sometimes.
Yes. Do you have one of those luggage things?
We do. We have one of the luggage weigher things. Yeah. So Tommy always would use it because, he was traveling so often.
I use a luggage weigher, which is me. I stand on the scale.
And then hold it.
It's so heavy with
my God.
50-pound
That's
suitcase.
your workout right there, for sure.
Oh, gosh.
Do you have anything else? I think that's it. That's all of our tips.
But we're saying be safe.
Yes.
Especially young ladies, but young men too. Be safe, like that poor boy who wandered off from the bar and fell in the river in Tennessee. Tennessee, Nashville.
Yeah, it does happen.
Yeah, so be careful. You never know what they're putting in your drink. Be careful. Watch your surroundings. Do a buddy system. Don't let people leave by themselves.
No. Always accompany them, at least to their vehicle, so they can get where they're going.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's it.
That's all.
All right. See y'all next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
Weather forecast today. Today's